Faith means when you're in a position of discomfort that you wonder if they're going to leave or if they're going to be disappointed in you or if there's going to be some kind of negative result, that instead of choosing to listen to that anxiety, you instead choose to think better of them and trust that in the past, if they've treated you well, that they're going to continue to do so. Hello! Welcome to another car chat. I had a thought today at the end of work. It is now, 5 p.m. on a Monday afternoon. And something really interesting happened today that I thought was really pertinent and really profound. And I relearned something all over again. I have a whole bunch of plans of things that I want to talk about on this channel. One of them is all about different gospel topics and words that we use often in faith in general, and faiths in general, that mean something different when you take them out of context of relationships, and then they mean something so much more profound when you put them back into context of relationships. So I have yet to figure out what to call it, but it's going to be something, and something cool, and something that I'm going to totally nerd out about, even if you guys don't. So this is like a precursor to all of that. So today, something very normal that happens in business occurred. Some backstory. I recently took over a reporting process at my work, one that a previous employee had been handling, and she had been given different responsibilities, so I got some of the responsibilities that she was leaving behind. So I had to learn a whole bunch. She gave me a ton of notes. It was really well organized. I have to hand it to her. She did a fantastic job of putting a whole bunch of information of where to acquire numbers from a slew of reporting into a single Excel sheet, and it is just phenomenal. But it's been like the past 5 or 6 months that I've been working on these new processes and trying to figure them out. And there have been plenty of times along the way that I've forgotten something, or I've misunderstood a note that she's put, or the numbers have been put in wrong because I'm going cross-eyed from looking at so many different reports all at the same time. And today, and every time that's happened, that I found out that I've done something wrong, I get a little tiny bit of anxiety and a little knot in my stomach that's like, oh no, maybe they're going to regret giving me this responsibility, maybe they're going to change their mind, yada, yada, yada. Because I've been with this new company for about a year now, a little over a year, and I'm still kind of getting used to what they expect of me. And since I'm the only person that does my job, I don't really have a comparison to anybody else to know if I'm doing it well or not. So it's understandable to me why when I get an email that says, hey, did you forget this? Or this thing is missing. Is it your responsibility? That I kind of go, ugh, ugh, ugh. And the tiniest little echo of, are they going to fire me? It goes through my head. Just like that little voice that comes through and just makes you doubt everything, every time. And today I had a similar experience where yet again there was another process that they were wondering, hey, what's the status update on this specific report? Whose responsibility is it? They thought it was mine. And I looked through all of my notes. Like, I got that little bit of panic that said, ugh. And I looked through all of my notes, and I saw that it wasn't anywhere listed on one of my responsibilities. And it was really cool because this time, instead of fretting over it and becoming more panicky and more anxious ridden, I decided, no, I've been here long enough. I've gotten really good feedback from a lot of other people about how well they think I'm doing in my department. I can cool the jets on this whole they're going to fire me anxiety thing. It's totally okay to fess up when you say, maybe I missed something. Maybe somebody just didn't tell me, or maybe legitimately they did and I forgot. Either way, I am happy to fix it. I'm happy to just let me know what I need to do, and I'm happy to do it. And that taught me something about the choice of faith. I think now it's helping redefine for me that faith isn't as nebulous as I thought, because in context of relationships, faith simply means you know someone well enough and you have had a good enough rapport and enough interactions with them that you can give them the benefit of the doubt. That when you're in the wrong, you don't need to panic, that they're going to do well by you, that they're going to treat you like an equal, they're going to preserve your dignity, that they're going to not bring down the hammer or give you the worst possible scenario. Or sometimes even if they are what looks like bringing down the hammer out of frustration, faith can also look like, you know what, there might be other circumstances that are aggravating this person more than normal, that they're giving me an additionally gruff response to something that doesn't have anything to do with me, and I can give them some grace. And I can trust that if they were in a position where they weren't under pressure as well, that they would treat me with a little bit more dignity and there wouldn't be any shame involved. So anyway, that opened up something for me. I think that's more of what faith means. Faith means when you're in a position of discomfort, say you're not sure if you've done something wrong, there's a lot of uncertainty, and you wonder if the relationship that you have with this other person, be it friendships, family, coworker, that you wonder if they're going to leave or if they're going to be disappointed in you or if there's going to be some kind of negative result, that instead of choosing to listen to that anxiety, you instead choose to think better of them and trust that in the past, if they've treated you well, that they're going to continue to do so, that you'll be able to conflict resolve with both of them, that they are going to give you grace, that even if they blow up at you in one moment, when they come to their senses, they will realize that was an inappropriate response. Like, it's putting trust in the other person's character, trust that they're going to be good and do right by you, and maybe even do better for you than you deserve. Because I've had that happen before too, where I've been given far too much praise, I think, at this job compared to what I've been able to accomplish because of the mistakes that I make. And they're not huge mistakes, but to me, as a little bit of a perfectionist, any mistake is like a huge mistake. So it does make me panic a little bit. And in this case, this was cool. I was able to circumvent some panic and some stress by simply choosing to not listen to that little voice that wondered, am I going to have a job if I have this error? And instead put faith in humanity that said, I bet that they're just interested in results, and that if I can let them know I'll fix it, they're going to be totally good. They're not even going to bat an eye. It's not nearly as detrimental as I think it is, because they're going to still treat me with dignity, even if they need to correct me. So anyway, I thought that was really impactful for me, because then I immediately thought about God and what does it look like to have faith in God. So when I was younger, I think I used to treat faith as something that was quantifiable, that it had a size and a measurement to it, and it wasn't at all about caliber, it was about quantity. In the New Testament, Jesus says if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, and I know he's trying to actually blow your mind now of like, proportions don't matter, size of faith doesn't matter. But when I was little, I was like, okay, I looked up the size of a mustard seed. I'm like, okay, that's a small amount of faith. I can do that, And I started to develop this idea that faith is measurement based instead of relationship based. Instead of realizing that the origin point of my faith in God is not me choosing. That is part of my faith, but it's not where my faith started. My faith started with God investing in me and having a relationship with me. It started back when God created the world and said that he wanted to have children to put on it and to raise them and to bring them back home to him. That's where my faith began. And then my faith in my own life started when he began cultivating relationships with me. It started back when my parents were getting divorced and I was praying and I felt like I wasn't alone and that somebody was sad with me. And it started in the really kind things that people would say to me when I was really depressed, or the sandwiches that people said, I have an extra sandwich. I just happened to make 2 today. Why don't you have a second one? Like, that, you can't tell me that was an inspiration when it comes at exactly the right moment. And I mean, my faith started with God guiding people to write down their experiences with him and have it compiled in a book called Scripture so that I could read it. And all of the sacrifices of the people who were willing to translate those scriptures into a language I could read, and the fact that I could read, there's so many elements of what has led up to my faith in God, to where the choice became much more natural, because there were so many different encounters of goodness and kindness that he gave me before I had to make the choice to believe in him. So that believing in him was an outgrowth of the relationship he had already been kindling in me. Now, granted, I didn't always view it this way. I used to think, I'm a very push through, tough it out kind of person who says I'm going to make this happen, and I'll put all of my exertion behind it. And God does love that about me. He's told me, but I think He is also trying to encourage me to relax into this relationship between the two of us. That I don't have to force things. That when I have a breakdown or I don't understand or I'm confused or I doubt Him, that it's okay. I have the room to do all of that because He'll still engage with me and cultivate a good relationship with me so that having faith with Him becomes easy again. It becomes natural and becomes joyful. So, those are some faith thoughts for you. I never know how to end these videos. But that's my car chat today, or car talk, if you will. Have a good one.